into these notes, there are 4 solving equation review problems. I want you to do those 4 problems. You should have got -7, +7, 2, and -4. So, do you feel good on the steps of solving a 2-step equation? Good. The first half of today's lesson, that's exactly what you're going to be doing, but instead of subtracting a single number, you might be subtracting a matrix from both sides. But the steps that you follow are exactly the same. I actually picked specific questions up here to match the steps of these 4 matrix problems. Now, when we get to the back side, it's a little bit harder, but for these first 4, that's all we're going to do. So, our goal is to get x by itself. And so, just like we did up here, we have something in the very front that we have to get rid of. I want to get rid of this whole matrix, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Just like you subtracted the 5 in the first example at the top, we're going to subtract this matrix. So that causes it to cancel. Basically, it just turns into with and then another matrix. So I'm going to take this top matrix minus the 1 or minus -6. Now you could type that in your calculator, but if you can add and subtract, it'd be a lot faster to do it in your head. -13 minus -5 is -8, and -16 minus -9 is -7. Is my x by itself? No. Nope. What did I do? So we're going to both -1. The way we do that on the matrix is by dividing all 4 of the elements by -1. So you can just put like a -1 underneath each of those. So we get x equals, when you divide by -1, all it does is flip the sign. So -9, -10, 8, 7. And it's really easy to check your answer. Questions like this where you it might be easy to make a mistake. If you take your calculator, okay, go back to your original problem, and we're going to type in this matrix minus what we got for x and see if we get that 12 for matrix. So -6, -5, -9, minus, and then what I got for x, and hit enter, and 12, 4, -13, -16, yes, I did it right. So it didn't take me long, maybe a minute to check your answer. It's going to be worth it when you get the test. Check as many of your answers as you can. A lot of you make very simple, silly mistakes. And you might go through it so fast, you might have half of the class left. All right, number 2. My goal is to get this x by itself. So I've got to get rid of everything that's on this side. So what am I going to get rid of first? Which matrix?
4 negative.
The 4 negative 10. So those cancel. Bring down the negative 4x. I do 48 minus 4. 44. And negative 38 minus negative 10. Negative 28. Negative 38. Yeah, or
So you can divide matrices?
you can do that by a whole matrix.
Oh,
But essentially you got to where I was going to explain when we got to the back. Dividing by negative so essentially that's what we're doing here. When we get to back and we have to try to divide by a matrix, we're going to run into some problems. Divide 11 and then that positive 7. If I want to check my answer, 4 times my matrix that I found plus so I get 48 negative 38. Perfect. Are there any questions? What step should I do first? Subtract this left one. Those cancel. And I bring down my negative 3x. Negative 28 minus 2 is negative 30. Negative 3 minus negative 9, 6. 3 minus 0 is 3. 24 minus 3 is 21. Okay. And then what? Divide by negative 3. So you get 10, negative 2, negative 1, and negative 7. I want you to try number 4 by yourself. What answer did you get for x on number 4?
2, 0, negative 2, negative 10.
Do you all agree?
Yes.
I got positive. I got positive 10.
I got 10.
Positive 10.
Oh, yeah.
But this negative 2 at the bottom is negative?
Yes.
Okay.
The same thing that you mentioned.
So you should have done 20 minus 0. You probably did 0 minus 20.
Oh, I did.
Probably. Alright, so let's turn over to the back. Now, these questions look like they're going to be exactly the same. but they're not. On all of these questions, there is a matrix with x. On the ones we did before, the x just had a number in front of it. So when I try to get x by itself, I'm going to want to divide by that matrix. But the problem is we can't do that. You can't take a matrix divided by a matrix. But what we can do is multiply by the inverse. It's kind of the same thing. Just like Michaela said at the very beginning, when we're dividing by -3, essentially what we're doing is multiplying by -1/3. Same thing, same concept. So we have to find the inverse. So whatever matrix is with your x, you're going to have to find the inverse of that. However, on these questions where you're solving the equations, I'm okay if you just use your calculator. You don't have to show all of your work and do it by hand. Now, if it's a question that simply asks for the inverse and that's what I'm testing you on, then yes, you would be expected to show your work on those. But these, you can do it 100% in the calculator. So, first of all, on this one, there's nothing to add or subtract first. If there was, you would need to add or subtract first. This one, straight up, we're going to find the inverse of that. So, I'm going to go to Alpha Zoom and type in this matrix. 1, -3, 5, -7. And then I can give it a -1 exponent. And when I hit enter, it gives me decimals for those to fractions. Math, hit the math button, and then enter, enter. So here's the important thing. When we multiply by the inverse has to go in the front. So I'm going to put that inverse in the front of both matrices.
But I thought multiplication was in a training.
Not on matrix multiplication. Because remember, sometimes when you check your dimensions, sometimes it doesn't work at all. When you take a matrix and you multiply it by its inverse, you will get the identity matrix, which when we're solving equations, that's essentially just meaning those cancel out. So this was the matrix, that was its inverse. When I multiplied them, it canceled out, which left me with just x on that side. My whole reason for finding that inverse was to be able to cancel out. Now over here, we need to actually do this multiplication. You do not have to do this by hand. Use your calculator. If you already have the inverse right there, just hit times. You don't have to retype it. So it'll be the inverse times the 9, -3, -3, 17. Now, if you didn't follow along and find the inverse with me, then yeah, you're going to need to retype it. And then when I hit enter, what did I... -1. Yeah, I was going to say, that's not what I got last time. Okay, let's get that back. I'm going to have to retype the whole thing. Oh. No, well, maybe. It won't pull it down. Do what? It doesn't bring it down. No, it would if it was a normal number, but it's...
Can you not go back into the answer before?
I think it would take the answer from this one. I think it takes the most, when it says answer right there, I think it takes the most previous answer, which would be this one. Yeah, so I'll just retype it, it's fine. And I could do alpha y equals and type fractions there, but that's too much time. I'll just convert it at the end. 9, -3, -3, 17. Yeah, I need to. So, -9, 9, -6, and 4. So if you want to check your answer, especially these where the inverse is required, I would check. Go back to your original problem, type in this matrix times the matrix X, and see if we get the 9, -3. So 1, -3, 5, -7 times -9, 9, -6, 4. Yes, I did. You're not guaranteed to get whole numbers as your answer, so like when I did it wrong, if I hadn't have went back and checked, I would have left it and then been wrong. But it's real easy to check. Okay. All right. So number 6, my goal is to get this X by itself. So I can't divide by this matrix, but what can I do with this matrix to get rid of it? Multiply by its inverse. So I've got to find the inverse of this matrix to get rid of it. Front. So by taking a matrix and its inverse, so I need to multiply these two. I have the inverse ready to go, times, hopefully I won't mess it up, 20, -6, 8, 4. We get 4, -6, 0, 4. Now, questions like this, you will only have like a 2 by 2 matrix to do. Because you can't do the inverse of something else. Number 7, I have a step that I need to take before I do the inverse. What step is that?
Add the inverse to the left of the equal sign.
No, we got to get rid of this one. This one that's being subtracted, we got to add that. Yeah. Sorry, I think I misunderstood what you were. -7, -7, -8, 4. So we're adding that one to both sides. So those cancel. 18 and negative 7 is 11. Negative 21 plus negative 7, negative 28. 27 plus negative 8, 19. Negative 16 plus 4, negative 12. So now I have a matrix with an X. I've got to get rid of that matrix. So I've got to find its inverse. You get 2/5, negative 3/5, negative 1/10, negative 1/10. So on this side, that causes those to cancel. To multiply. And I get negative 7, negative 4, negative 3, 4. So I want you to do number 8, and then tomorrow the first thing that we do will be to go over number 8 or to look at it with all of these to practice.